at the look-ahead number from last week, Vikings were -1, and then Browning played well again for 2 consecutive weeks here for the Bengals. They got as high as, 5.5? And now it's all the way back down to 3. Shop around again. You're seeing some -115s, maybe a -120, and in fact, 3 -115 here at Circa as well. So it comes down to that number. Total is 40 or 40.5. And again, this Vikings defense has been exceptional now. And you said this during the break. What kind of a team would we be talking about here with the Minnesota Vikings had Kirk Cousins not gotten hurt? I firmly believe he'd be the MVP mix because nobody else has a stranglehold on that award and the season that he was having.
You might go San Francisco, Minnesota, Dallas, Philly, or Philly, Dallas in the pecking order to come out of the NFC. The defense is that good, and he was playing great and beat San Francisco at home. So that's when they were down several key weapons.
That's right.
In that game. If I was still left and Jordan Love didn't go to my pocket, I was going to take Cincinnati and Survivor.
Would you stick with that as of today?
Yes. Can't get there with the Saints. Tommy Cutlets. I know it changed things, how well he looked again Monday night. Can't trust Atlanta, even though their season's on the line and you're playing Carolina, but I wouldn't kill people if they're going to go use Atlanta in Survivor. I didn't have the Rams available. I already used them. So if you want to throw that at me, I'd already used them. But in any event, teams do not here's what concerns me. You're going back-to-back road games with travel. And what are you going to get out of Mullins? Now, it'll be better than Dobbs, who was also demoted to third string, by the way. Hall's the backup in this game. The Cincinnati defense has done a better job the last couple weeks. They have had a bad year. But they only allowed 7 points to the Colts. And it's been better for Lou and the guys the last couple weeks. So 7-6 against 7-6. An enormous game here for the Bengals. I love how Browning's played the last couple weeks, and he's got so many weapons. I mean, here comes Mixon, you got Chase, you got Higgins,
all these guys. Kid?
No doubt, absolutely. So a little concerned about. Remember, back up to what happened against Pittsburgh when they gave up 400 yards. But at home, again, the Vikings, another road game with travel here, and the Saturday game. I think the Bengals win and cover. And I just don't know what Mullins is going to be able to do. Now, Jefferson's going to be back and play. But I just don't know what you're going to do offensively, how bad Minnesota's been, and how long they've... I mean, what is it, 1 touchdown going back the last couple games? It's been ugly. Mm-hmm. But certainly the defensive numbers are staggering and impressive, and the 12-0-1 underrun in the first quarter.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so Weston, guy in the cornfields, who is in the Friday night Circa Invitational here, the football contest, and Matt Humans hosts every single night from 9 until midnight Eastern, 6 until 9 out here on the West Coast. Weston's in third place of that contest, and he can win it. So he sent me a couple of nuggets to watch in this game. When Mullins was the quarterback in San Francisco, 2018, Kittle, Mullins for 8 games, Kittle had 88 catches for 1,377 yards that year. That is the most catches he's ever had in a season, and by far and away the most yards he's ever had as well. I know Justin Jefferson is back. His prop is 76.5, but there's also some thought here from people who follow the teams that Mullins targeted Hawkinson on 31% of his throws in relief against the Raiders last week.
Yep, kept looking for him right away.
4 for 4, 45 yards on those throws. Cincinnati is 32nd in catches, 32nd in yards, 29th in TDs, and 32nd in fantasy points allowed to tight ends overall. I know JJ's back. Hawkinson's receiving yards prop in this game is 52.5. Earlier in the week, I saw plus 230 on an anytime touchdown, and his reception prop 5.5 pretty much.
Okay.
But you saw that when he came in. He likes to look at tight ends, and there's a history here when you go back and look at what it was like with George Kittle in San Francisco.
Good breakdown. I like Browning passing yards over, and again, he's 3-0 to the over based on where he's at DraftKings.
I tell you, Browning looks pretty good, man.
Yes, he does. And I think they'll have some success with the big plays and hit some shots. This open pick up to 3.5. You get to the line movements here all week, and that's a high total, though, for a Viking game. I mean, remember the Raider total was 39-40 when they came out here Sunday in the 3-0 game.
Well, I think that does tie into how Browning has looked here the last 2 weeks, but also the Bengals' defense kind of trashy as well.
Well, it's been better, but it's a tough week because you got so many backup quarterbacks and you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, who saw the Flacco thing coming? Who saw DeVito coming?
Right.
So, and then Dobbs was great when they threw him in there for 2 weeks, and then he stunk, and he's demoted to third string. So I'm here for the Nick Mullins experience. I'm just, anything. They could score 6 points. They could score 20. 25. I don't know. 24. I don't know what could happen here. He could turn it over. He could throw a couple touchdowns. I don't know. It's all over the board what could happen.
I liked what I saw with the O'Connell-Dobbs combo when Dobbs first got there. Maybe they could kind of repeat that.
Yeah.
And clearly what we've learned now is that Dobbs is better just like ad-libbing and not knowing any of his teammates.
I like the middle game over. Open 39 up to 42. The Colts are 10-3 to the over this year on their team total. They've already gone over their win total. And I said this Monday, if I know the NFL and I know Tomlin, the Steelers will win this game.
Right.
They're the first team in history to be above 500 and lose back-to-back home games to teams that were at least 8 games under 500. And it was ugly.
That's tough to do.
Yes. Now, do they win the game if Pickett doesn't get hurt against Arizona? Maybe. But they also couldn't stop him. Connor gashed him. Murray was great. McBride ate him up. And then Bailey Zappi's thrown it all over the yard. So that is just total embarrassment. But what could Trubisky have success against this bad Indy defense? I think they'll get enough going and get to the over here, and they'll go over the total. And it's another big game here with 7-6 against 7-6.
Yeah.
But you're 27th in offense, you're 28th in passing, you're 27th in scoring. Their defense isn't that good either. Very disappointing, the Pittsburgh defense.
Yeah, they've had flashes this year where it's like, hey, this is the same old Pittsburgh defense, and then you watch them again for a full game against a bad team. You're like, wait, Cardinals just went 99 yards and a touchdown in your face at home, and some other instances too. But I will say that on the injury report, T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Alex Highsmith were all full. Highsmith still listed as questionable. There's going to be no Jonathan Taylor. That's not a surprise. Or right tackle Braden Smith for the Colts.
Yeah.
And they're getting a couple of guys back on defense. They're both scheduled to return anyway, a cornerback and a linebacker.
Well, maybe their luck ran out, too, because we know all year it's been smoke and mirrors with the Steelers. They have a winning record, but they're plus 10 in the turnover differential. Mm-hmm. Indy struggled at home this year, though, which is a bit of a surprise.
The night game, this has been a battle between sharps, actually, because the Lions against the Broncos, where that number opened up, and then it came down right away. And then the Lions were bet back up when it was down to 3.5. To 4.5 is where it is at right now. So there's some people grab the 5.5 right away. 5.5 that was available. Others are like, no, that's way too. That was a look ahead actually too last week. That's way too much. Nick Bonito did not practice, linebacker for the Broncos. Same thing with safety PJ Locke. You need to know those two names for today. For Detroit, do they have good news on the offensive line? We shall see. But Taylor Decker was full yesterday after being limited. Frank Ragnow, limited earlier in the week, but then became full. And wide receiver Josh Reynolds is questionable.
Big key to this game is Dan Campbell. Lombardi nailed it Monday. Reckless. Just going for it willy-nilly every single time. And is that going to continue? And if they don't get it, take over a short field?
Yep. I want to like the guy. I really want to.
I know. It's out of control what he's doing.
He's far too emotional.
Yep. Totally agree.
And now he's getting Sean Payton here. And the job.
I was just going to say that. So what a job. 6-1 their last 7. 18 takeaways. The adjusted win total is 9.5 at DraftKings. Over is plus money. I can't believe it.
They have 7 right now.
They close with the Patriots at home, the Chargers at home, and Las Vegas.
That is a survivor dilemma, by the way.
That is a great call.
What do you do there?
I know, because it's set up where you use them Christmas Eve, that night game against the Patriots, but now the next week they're at home against the Chargers.
Yeah, and what you watched last night with that team.
I know, but Week 16 is rough. You don't have a lot to choose from. I think they're making the playoffs. I think they're going over 9.5, and they can win this game. Go back 6-1 last 7. They should have won that Houston game. But the defense has been nasty. Great turnaround, taking it away, and maybe this happens here with Goff too. But what has happened to this Detroit defense? It stinks. Mm-hmm. It's terrible.
Yeah, this is not a blip on the radar.
No, this is who they are.
This is not like a month long.
This is who they are.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep. And again, what would the narrative be and what would the numbers look like around the Broncos if they could get that final possession back against Houston? I mean, they had 4 chances at the end zone late. It
was a bad job.
It was a terrible job there with the execution.
And Wilson threw 3 picks in that game.
Yeah.
It's right there for him. Right there for him.
All right, so one game on Sunday I wanted to get to real quick because money's coming in now on Tampa Bay. Packers are down to 3. I bet Green Bay on the look-ahead last week minus 3.5. And the injuries here are mounting up. First, the good news potentially here. Wicks, Quay Walker returned to practice for Green Bay on Thursday. Aaron Jones and Jair Alexander both practiced at least a little bit.
Yeah, now they're back. Okay.
But the DNPs now. yesterday. Watson, Dillon, broken thumb. Status is in doubt. Darnell Savage and Elton Jenkins, also DNPs. But names to watch in the Bucks defense: Carlton Davis, Vita Vea, Ryan Neal, all DNPs on Thursday. They got some good news. Jamel Dean and Devin White actually came back, and he was full yesterday. But they're decimated with injuries overall. Maybe the total's a way to go in this game.
It's way too low. I like that. Love will bounce back. You have the LaFleur angle where he hasn't lost at home in December, but now the first December loss was Monday. Here's the key to the game. Can Green Bay contain the rushing attack? Because White and Tampa Bay have been phenomenal the last 3 weeks on the ground game. 3 in a row, at least 125 yards rushing, and they ran all over Atlanta last week. Yep. Green Bay's 30th against the run. Yep. You take pressure off Mayfield, but if you're running all over him, it sets up the pass, and then Evans can bury you too. So if Green Bay can't slow down the rush, let's just start there.
Recent running backs against the Packers: Barkley 86 yards, Pacheco 110. Monty and Gibbs combined for 125. Warren had 101. Monty 121 the first game around. White, there you go.
Good prop.
More games coming up over the weekend on Sunday. Another huge injury report that you need to pay attention to later on today.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.